Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I'm back for Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, the treasure hunt piece. So I'm continuing work and starting to stitch more down on this beautiful old blanket base, which has come from Alex's mum, which I've covered with this old lace tablecloth and then adding other pieces on top. It is going to be a little bit cumbersome at times to film, I think, and even with this piece that I'm going to be working on today, I was umming and ahhing about whether I stitch it when it's not on the blanket and then stitch it onto the blanket, but I want all the pieces to become cohesive into the blanket, so by doing some of the stitching over the pieces it will really draw them in, like when I did the thread painting recently. So I've got this beautiful old vintage embroidery, which was one of the previous prompts as well, so it fits in well with that. It's got this beautiful embroidered garden scene. It had this space in the middle, and as soon as I saw it I thought, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a little quote in there. And then as I thought about it, I really wanted to use this prompt, which is buttons, to create something to really pay tribute to my beautiful Nana, who was a seamstress. She loved her buttons. Many of these buttons are hers. And yeah, she loves sewing. So I just wanted to do something really special for her. And then I was thinking about the things that my Nana and my grandpa really valued and exemplified in their lives. And I was also thinking about what's happening in the world right now and reflecting on things in life as well. And just this quote came into my head this week, so I decided to stitch it on. And the quote is, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I will meet you there." And for me, that's just such a powerful idea, that there is a place that all humanity can come together, where we can, if we can put aside wrongdoing and right doing, put aside ego, we can actually come together, and just that thing of I will meet you there. So I'll talk a bit more about Nana and Grandpa as I do this stitchery, I am sure. But what I'm thinking is I would like to put on some of my little Yorkshire buttons. I was going to call them Suffolk buttons, but no, that's Suffolk puffs. And so I was thinking what I will do with all my buttons and things is to actually extend out the floral design. So in the center, to have the writing and the more neutral coloured tones. And to do this writing, I use this beautiful gumnut yarn buds thread that I'd got I think in a bundle from Melanie, purveyor of Reclaimed Textiles. And I'm thinking I can use this same thread to start to do the stems out, but then have the colours coming in. So it's almost like the world becomes colourful again if we can just meet in this field where we've put aside those ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. So let's make a start. So I might get these ones down first of all. And I think I liked it that way. Don't want to do them totally even, but what I'm thinking is I'll have then stems coming down like that. Hopefully you can still see them. I might need to just shuffle my piece ever so slightly down. So I'll grab myself some thread. I guess I should probably start with this one up the top first. That thread should be okay. Hopefully we won't see much of it anyway. Got my little thread box, which is a repurposed, I think it would have been a little padded jewelry box or makeup box, but it's got these little individual compartments and I can sit it up on my little shelf in front of me. So I hope you're having a good day or a good evening when you're watching this. I'm filming this on Sunday afternoon. It's a rainy old day in Melbourne, so perfect day for doing some stitchery. Just move these ones out of the way. So because it's quite tricky to come up from underneath, I'll come up once from underneath and then I'm just going to work on the surface, I think, which is what I did when I was stitching all of this down. I basically just went along with my needle, picking up and passing through without having to go into the back and back to the front, because it is in a blanket, so it's just harder when you're having to put your hand under and then bring it back to the front. So what I'm going, and I've got my felt map underneath, so I shouldn't end up stitching into it. I should be able to feel when the needle's poking into it. I want to just get this anchored down. Hopefully you can see that. I might again need to just move myself a smidge down. The other trick, if you don't want to stitch into your mat, is you can put a book underneath as well. But yeah, the mat is generally pretty okay, but I might just do that anyway, and it might just help avoid any risk of having to undo my stitching. So I'm just going to work on the surface here, but picking up the blanket in the process, but just not having to go backwards and forwards, frontwards. So with these, I don't know if I should put just one little stitch up just to kind of hold it down a bit more from the center. Let's have a look. Yeah, that might just help to hold it a little bit more securely. Just put a few more stitches in. So I've got a separate video showing how I made these in case you missed that and you'd like to make some of your own Yorkshire buttons. And I've got a template linked from the description to that video, which I've just posted in a little our little Stitch Along Facebook group, because that's somewhere I can easily post pictures and templates and things. So I just put a few more stitches in just to hold the sides in place. Obviously, if I didn't have the thick blanket, I could be, and it is actually okay at this side because I can easily reach under, but it does work quite well. Just yeah, working on the front of the fabric and sort of weaving my needle in, because the blanket's quite nice and thick. It's quite easy to just do that. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's held securely. I can tie that off with a little notch. Thread in my little orts jar over here. Let's move that a bit closer. I can just have a sip of my green tea as well. Okay, and then which way was I going to have these? Decisions. Yeah, I think I quite like that one up there. We'll do that. Might use this thread. These are all threads from Alex's mum. I'm very lucky to have a wonderful collection of vintage, just good basic sewing threads. But yeah, it's rare that I find I don't have a colour. Got a few more actually in different colours recently from the sewing lair, but I've got to do a little video sharing all those goodies before I can pack them away. So I'll show you in a moment how I did the writing in the stitched writing as well, because I've left Rumi, I don't know if you can see that now that I've moved it, but Rumi down here, who was the person that the quote comes from, so that I can do some stitched writing with you also. So make sure you remind me, not that you can remind me. I like to think that you're here chatting away to me. Again, I'm just going to sort of catch it. Can probably just take it through there. Can probably even just do some little ones catching the sides of this one, because it's a bit flatter than the other one, which was done with quite a thick wool. Again, I'll just keep sort of passing the needle from the front rather than having to go all the way to the back of the blanket. Luckily, it is a very easy to stitch into fabric. It's not hard to push through. pretty good, I think. I'll just put another stitch up this side. Oops, don't want to go that far. Okay, so that's holding pretty securely, I think. Let's do a knot to tie it off. Again, and then I think I can probably use this same colour, even though I do have a more burgundy colour as well. So I'll put this one down just a little bit lower. I don't want them to look all really even. I want them to have a bit of movement in them. Don't want it to be symmetrical. I want it to be a bit more organic. I do love making these Yorkshire buttons, especially now that I've got this even more detailed template that has even more of the little ribs on it. I've pulled that just a tiny bit too tight. Probably don't want to pull it under so far. I just put a few little stitches in the edges to hold them in place. They remind me of little daisies or we might need that there. That won't be the end of the world. Just anchor it down like that. Just doing tiny little stitches just to catch it. Again here I can do that. And then maybe one over this way. And then I think that one will be anchored just fine. And then I'll just tie it off. Hopefully you can still see. Yep, looks like I think I'm up the right direction. Hopefully I'm talking loud enough because the camera is a little bit higher because we are at a bigger scale. I did an and ah about cutting this out, but I just thought, no, it's such a nice doily, beautiful edging design on it. It would be nice to keep it whole. That's great. So what we can do now is do the stems, and then remind me, we'll come down and do a bit of the split stitch writing as well. So this is the Gumnut Yarn Silk Buds thread. So we'll pop out from the back. I was thinking I'll put a stem in here, and then I might just try working on the front and see how I go. Actually, I wonder if I should do split stitch as well. Actually, maybe I'll just do I might have to prop it up a little bit and yeah, work from the back as well. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do the stitch the way I want if I'm going to just work on the front. I'll move my buttons out of the way, move my thread over there, slip my hand underneath, and we should be able to do it fine. I might just get rid of the book as well. Hopefully you can still see it's sort of moving around a bit there, but it should be right. So I'm thinking I'd like to do a split stitch, I think. So with split stitch, you're just popping up halfway along the previous stitch, and that stitch is then splitting that previous stitch, and you just keep doing that all the way up. I don't mind if my stem gets a bit of twist in it as well, as in if it starts to verge a little bit. I don't want it to be perfectly straight. And then I'll be able to come back and put the little bits where it can go off to either side. Although I could do one here. No, I think I'll keep going up first. At the back and make sure I don't have any knots. I don't think I do. It's always worth checking as you go, because it's much easier to fix something up before you finish something off. Now I'll take it over on a little angle at the top. Then I might just bring my needle, oops, I've got to get my end through, there we go. And then I don't want to leave it sort of long on the back, so I'm just going to bring my needle back down, sort of down to where I want it. I've still got a little bit of thread left. Flatten it out before we go too far. And then I'll pop out maybe about here. It's so lovely seeing everyone's button collections who are taking part in the project and sharing some of their goodies. So much fun rifling through buttons. And indeed making buttons in this case with the Yorkshire buttons. So that one's done. So then I can pop back. Actually, I probably should weave myself back under the fabric, which I can do at the back without looking and hopefully without stabbing myself. I think I've managed to do that there, yes. And then I might bring this stem off slightly higher up. Oops, almost. Well, I did lose my threaded needle, but that's okay. This silk thread though is just so lovely to work with. Thought it might be a bit more finicky, but it's quite nice. Really enjoyed doing the thread painting of the flower on this piece with the silk. It's just so soft to run my fingers across now. so silky. Let's see if we can get this done with this last bit of thread. I'm just using the lengths that it came cut with. Don't know if it's Gumnut Yarns that does it, or Melanie, who I bought them off, whether she'd cut them down to size herself, or whoever owned them beforehand. Okay, I'll just have to do a knot by hand. It's always nice though when you can get your stitching done with the piece of thread and not have to add another piece in. So let's have a look at that, complete with Travis hair. I don't know how he managed to get his hair onto here. I think that's very, very nice. Even more Travis hair. Must be on my mat, I'm guessing, but not that Travis has been up on my mat. So yeah, that's great. Let's do the writing now before I forget, because I've promised you that we're going to do the thread stitching. It's really the same as what we're doing up the stem. It's just a split stitch, but we can definitely do that together. Put my scissors out of the way. Again, I might just need to twist around just to make it a bit easier for myself. So I've just written out with my friction marker that erases with heat. I've written out the words "roomy" here with capitals, and that's who the quote is from. So we're just going to do split stitch. So I've just done that little squiggly bit that you get sort of when you're signifying something's from someone, like a quote. And so yeah, with my Nana and Grandpa, as reflecting this quote is just so fitting for them, because they were very heavily involved with an organisation which used to be called Armagh. So growing up, I always heard them talking about Armagh, and we went to Armagh a few times. And Armagh's an old house here in Melbourne, but it turns out that it was donated by one of the members of this organisation, which is actually now known as Initiatives of Change Australia. But it basically was an organisation that sprung up during the two world wars as countries were seeking to rearm themselves with actual, I guess, military equipment and things. But it was an organisation that really sought to promote, I'm just having a look, I've got the website in front of me, moral and spiritual rearmament as a way to build a hate-free, fear-free, greed-free world. And so my my grandparents, my Nana and Grandpa, were very heavily involved with Armagh, and I think it really fitted with their values of helping others, and working for a peaceful world. And they went. They sort of got what they felt was a sort of a calling to go and help build a multi-faith centre in India. And so they went to Panchgari with others from Armagh to build that centre. That was in the 70s. That was, I think, just around the time when my mum and dad were buying their house. I think, if I've got the correct order around, I think they were just buying their house just as Nana and Grandpa were heading off to India, unless it was when they were coming back. But my grandpa was a carpenter, and so he was helping them to build this centre in India. And I think there was all like bamboo scaffolding and things like that. But my grandpa had a really bad fall while he was over there, and was in hospital for a long time while he was over there in India, which I imagine, yeah, if we think our hospitals can be a bit of a tough gig, I imagine that would have been a very tough gig. And I think Nana had to provide all the food for him and come in and do a lot of the care for him as well. So, yeah. Now, I didn't end up doing split stitch just because of the space that I had there. I just ended up doing just regular back stitch, I guess. But I quite like that it just blends into the stem, but still giving credit to Rumi. So yeah, my grandparents were pretty amazing people to kind of pack up your life and go and volunteer to build a multi-faith centre in a place you've never been in India. But as I say, they've I think I've said this in other videos, they'd always open their home to others and help people out, and they'd always give anything to others. So yeah, they definitely are people that I want to honour and remember through this piece. So just move my thread over there. There's never enough room on the desk. Even when you've got a big desk, it's like, I can't fit it all in. So now comes the fun part of thinking about how we want to add some buttons in. So I've picked out the ones that I think are the most fitting in that they're little flower sort of designs, or there's some little bees and things. Ones like this that look like flowers. So I guess we just need to start putting them down, and then what I'm planning to then do is to either extend the plants out or bring other stems out from here and just have it coming out as just this beautiful, in all directions, coming out as this beautiful garden that's sprouting from the fact that we've got to a world where we let go of ideas of wrongdoing and right doing. I know it's probably, in fact I know it's not that simple, but I think there's something in that. I absolutely do. So let's just start putting things down, I think. Just making sure you can see. If I go too far down that way, I might need to just move up a bit. Can't fit it all in, alas. Where do I want to put this? Sort of matches with that colour, so I want to have it spread out a bit from that colour, so I might pop it in. Could I then have it come out from here? I guess I could, or it could come out from here. Maybe actually it could be part of this one. That could be nice. So there's my needle. I was like, where's my needle gone? I think I'll get this colour again. Get my scissors. Oops, that one just slid away. So I might actually pop through from the back to start, and then hopefully I can just stitch on the surface. Just love these vintage buttons, except when you can't get your needle to not slip through them. It's not the button's fault, I think it's the stitch's fault. And again, I think I said this the other day, like I don't mind with these shanked buttons. Sometimes you wouldn't want to use them on a project that needs to sit really flat, but on this one, which is going to be laying on hanging down the back of a couch, open to where the stairwell leads you up into the room upstairs, I thought, yeah, it's fine to have things that are a bit more bobbly, a bit more textural. Just want to get them sort of nicely stitched down. Just get a good number of stitches through. Stitch down from this side too. That should be enough. I can hear sirens outside in the distance. Hopefully nothing bad's happening. Okay. Right, so, and then maybe maybe we'll do another. So I've got this one, which is almost like a colour. Isn't this button? I showed you this one the other day. It's got the most beautiful little floral scene on it, but then it's sort of like thicker at that side and then comes down to a thinner side. So I thought that could be nice. Maybe over here. Again, I think I can probably get away with using this thread. Put that maybe over here. Well, it's quite a fine little hole here, but at least the needle fits through. I think I want it to go that sort of a direction, so how do I get it to do that? Oops. So I'm just picking up little bits of fabric just to kind of anchor it down, which I find works well with the shanked buttons. This feels pretty secure. Oops, come on. Might just take this one to the back as well. Just secure it a bit more. It's just unthreaded itself, but I think I can do a knot this way anyway. Might do another knot that way as well. Putting a knot around underneath, like that. Okay. Then I've got this sort of straw. This has like got a straw in it, so maybe I could put something. Oh, that's quite nice actually. It's got that straw with the little wheaty bit there. Sirens are still going. It's not good. Okay, let's pop through there. Oops, helps if you put a knot on the end of your thread before you do that. Just see me knocking that entire tin of buttons. I can just see myself going scuttling around the floor, cleaning them up. Now which way? I think I'll do it on an angle. I don't want it, as I say, I don't want it to all look really, really perfect. I want it to look like a garden. Okay, it's decided to go the opposite angle than what I thought we were going to do, but that's okay. Let's see if we can angle it around. Yeah, that's the angle I wanted at. Now you can do all sorts of interesting stitching when you're stitching down buttons as well. You can sort of come over from the edges, and especially if you've got 4 buttonholes, you can do all sorts of crossy stitches between them. But I'll just get these anchored down first, and then I can decide what else I do. With some of these, like this one, I could always do some little petals coming out from it as well with embroidery floss when I'm done. Just do one more stitch through, I think. And then I'll just flip over and, oops, got other threads trying to catch onto my blanket, and then we'll just do it at the back. Just putting a knot in place at the back to just hold it securely. Okay, into the orts jar. Don't lose the needle, Christine. Okay, then maybe one of these, so that has some nice sort of colour parallels with that, but I think it's further enough away if we put it there. So I'll just get this, that colour. Yeah, I can probably use that. Don't think I've got a better colour. Oh, that'll be fine, I think. Don't think we'll really see it underneath the button anyway. So let me know what you're stitching at the moment. Are you doing Roxy's Journal of Stitchery or another stitchery project or another craft project? Pop up from the back about here. How do I want this to be, I wonder? Maybe a bit more up there, I think. Such an unusual button. I've not seen one like this before. Doesn't have a shank as well, it's just got a little carved out bit at the back. So I'll try and go back in around where my holes are. Sorry, I'll probably just put the blanket in front of you. I reckon that's probably enough stitches to hold that in place. We'll just put a few stitches in the back. To tie it off. Oops. I think I just broke my thread, but I think it's not holding it. I think it's secure. Can always come back and add a few further stitches if needed. Okay, then I've got another little pearly one, which could be nice to add up here, I guess, or also got this little mother of pearl button, which could be quite sweet. I like that one. I think I will though try, maybe I'll even use one of my little crochet threads for that. Yeah, that's a nice, more naturally yellow, slightly yellowy tone. Okay. Pop up over here. This in about there, I think. Or should I even do it? No, I think that'll be fine there actually. I was wondering if I should put it closer, but I think it's nice to leave a bit of space. Just do 3 little loops through there. Hoping I'm managing to stay on camera. It is extra hard when it's a big blanket. It's fine when I'm stitching, I can just sort of position it wherever, but when I'm filming I just don't want to be making it hard for you to see. I know if you're like me, you're probably half watching, half listening to videos when you're stitching along or doing your own little stitchy project, popping a video on. That's what I like to do. That's what I've been doing today while I've been getting this piece stitched down while I was doing the writing on it. So I thought that might be a bit boring to watch me do the writing. Oh, that one would go great there. That's a beautiful glass button. You probably saw it the other day when we were picking out buttons, but yeah, I think that would be beautiful. Just wondering what colour. Yeah, I can probably use this, unless I want to use a bit of the maroony coloured. Maybe I'll do that for a bit of contrast, or even gold maybe. Actually, I've got this goldy coloured thread, not that thick actually, so maybe I will grab, I think I've still got some of my wool over here. Let me see if I can extract out the wool, or I've got some of this floss as well. Choices, choices. Again, I think this is cut into little sections. Can I get this floss through this needle, or do I have to change needles? No, I think we can do that. Okay, let's tie a knot. And then let's pop through from the back somewhere where we want it to be. About there. And we want the eyes on a angle. Oops, come on. So I think 2 stitches will be enough there to hold that in place. Let's do another little knot. Alright, so now what I might do, just because I can see time is getting on, I am planning to keep adding buttons all the way around, but I thought I'd just show you how I can then join my buttons in with a piece. So I've got my threads here. Put my buttons and threads out of the way so I don't flip them. Move my scissors out of the way. And then let's do a bit more stitching to join our buttons into the design. I'm actually happy with how it's coming together. It's kind of what I had in my mind's eye, but you never know till you start whether it's going to work the way that you want. So I can start back at my button itself. So I guess I'll put the stem, maybe I'll do the stem right from the center, even though we'll kind of see it coming through behind. Actually, no, that's okay. I'll take my needle back in and pop out just at the edge. That's better. Obviously not better when you unthread your needle, but that's okay. Now, how do I want my stem to come down? That's actually pretty, maybe I'll just bring it on a slight angle down here. So again, I'll just use my little split stitches, I think, to make the stem. And I'll just bring it on a slight twisty angle down here, I think. Again, apologies for any difficulty sort of being able to see. It is just that little bit of extra degree of difficulty because I am working with a blanket. Let's see if this will work for us. The silk thread keeps trying to come in. I've actually got to wind it properly onto its little cardboard, otherwise it gets quite tangled. Oops, let's bring it up there. I love how this silk thread is just such a good complement for the variegated sort of colours of thread that have been used, or maybe the multiple different threads that were used. Just that looks almost like a variegated thread, but maybe they've just changed the colours as they went around the flower. But it's just such a good match. Originally with the quote I was thinking I'd use like a dark, or I was thinking maybe a gold, but I'm really glad I used something really understated. I like that it's got a calmness to it, a peacefulness to it. So there we go, that's a stem done. So yeah, I think it's really great how it just sort of meshes in with the design. So I'll just tie that off there. I can always go back and add leaves and things, but I'll probably get my buttons done first. And then in a future video I can show you this sort of all completed and done. So again, I'll pop up from the back. I wonder with some of these if I could even do just like a little couching down. No, I think I'll continue to do the split stitch, and I guess I'll bring my thread. Hopefully you can still see. Can you still see? I'll move it over a smidge. The wind is buffeting outside, and I don't know if you just heard it. It's just suddenly gone super windy. We're on a hill here, so when the wind really gets going, it gets loud. There we go, and bring it back down to here. Maybe one more. Just a final stitch just to sort of anchor it. So there's that one coming out from that little bundle. And what you can do, maybe we'll do it on this one, is I was thinking I can do some little petals out, or little added embellishments around it, particularly with the smaller or less ornate buttons, like this little shell button. Again, I might just need to move my piece a little bit to make it easier to show you and easier for me to stitch. So I like how these look like little petals around, and starts to make it really look like a little flower. Plus I had the thread, so rather than tying it off and having a short bit of thread that I couldn't really use for anything else, I may as well put in some petals. We'll put one more in there. And you could obviously do pistil stitches to do little bobbles on the end. So I'll have some fun, I think, as I put in all the stitching. And another one up here, I think. Still got a little bit of thread left. And another one over here. more down here. And maybe one up here. And I think that's probably as many as I can fit in there. And tie it off. There we go. Oops, almost pushed my teacup and plate. It's probably dangerous having tea on your stitching desk, but I do like to have a little sip. So how are we going for time? I can probably do one more. I think I will probably stick with the split stitch because I think it goes quite well with the existing stitching. I was just wondering if I'd do a chain or anything else as a stem, but I think no, probably split stitch is the best bet. But maybe we can do some little pistil stitch, little stamens or something coming up from this one. Let's have a little play. Make sure I'm on camera. So if we're going to do a pistil stitch, we'll bring it up and we'll make a little French knot, and then we'll anchor our pistil stitch in. Now sorry, I'm just gonna it is a degree of difficulty, and then you get that little nice little bobbly bit comes up from it. So I might do another one here. 1, 2, 3. Maybe a tiny bit higher. Again, just holding on to my thread while I take it through. Sorry, you can't really see, but I'm just keeping a bit of tension on my thread as best as I can while wrangling a blanket. And then I might do another one coming up from here. Could continue these actually all the way around this particular little flower. Let's have a look how it looks when it's stitched down, or whether I want to have them as just little three stamens. So I'll pop through now and pop out this side of it, and I guess we'll bring the again, I'll need to get underneath. To do our little stem. Oops. Pop out needle where I want you to pop out. And so we can do some lazy daisy stitches around some of the flowers as little petals. And I think I'll still do a little heart or something to go near or sort of on the side of this piece with buttons and with manna. So I'll probably just surround the heart with buttons, and maybe just thread embroider manna, because I think it would get too big if I tried to spell out manna with buttons. But we'll have a look. But yeah, this piece is very much inspired by manna. But also my grandpa as well. But I've got a piece that's specifically for grandpa as well, with one of his sayings, which is in a previous video. So again, just doing the split stitch. Just bring it down here, I think, and join up with this stem. So that is probably enough. We're at the 55-minute mark, and that's probably enough of your time that I've stolen away for today. But I hope that has given you some ideas for your your stitcheries or future projects or whatever. And hopefully, yeah, just nice to reflect on some ideas of peace and love and coming together and seeing each other's humanity in the world. So thank you for watching. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.